All right, guys, so today we are going to talk about tissues and how they work in your body, the different kinds. Understanding the tissues is going to tell you a lot about the structure, and then we know, based on the beginning of this class, that structure dictates function. So knowing its structure will help you understand its function later. So tissue is a living fabric. Each cell is specialized, and then they work together to create these special tissues. So a group of cells similar in structure that perform common or related functions. Sorry, guys. Histology is defined as the study of tissues, and there are four basic types. There is epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous. So in general, nervous tissue is going to be found in the nervous system, in the brain, spinal cord, and nerves, both the peripheral and the cranial. We'll talk more about those later. The muscle tissue is going to be found on the skeleton for skeletal muscles, in the heart for cardiac muscles, and smooth muscles, which are going to be inside like your stomach and your other organs, hollow organs. Epithelial tissue is going to be covering all of your organs, skin, everything. There's epithelium in all of your body. And then connective tissue connects. So that can be blood, which actually connects from part to part. It can be bone. It can be cartilage. It can be the stuff that actually holds it all together, the tendons, the ligaments, the fascia. So epithelial tissue is a sheet of cells that cover surfaces or cavities. So there are two forms. There's the covering and lining epithelial. These are going to be thicker, and they are going to be external or internal, or glandular epithelium, which are going to actually secrete like salivary glands, and those are going to be a little more aggregated. So the main functions are protection, absorption, filtration, excretion, and secretion. Oh, and sensory. Sensory. There's five special characteristics of epithelial tissue. The epithelial tissue has polarity, which means it has sides. It has specialized contacts, so there are ways that it can connect to other things. It is supported by connective tissue. Where there is epithelial tissue, you will find connective tissue. And it is avascular, which means that it has no blood vessels. Your skin will not bleed. Now, when I scratch, if I scratch deep enough and I pass the epithelium, then I will get blood. But that's because I have left the epithelial tissues and moved on to the connective tissues. So they are avascular. They do not have blood vessels, but they are innervated, which means they do have nerves, which is why I can feel that I scratched myself. And it regenerates. You move through you make new skin pretty often. You make about 10 pounds of you release about 10 pounds of dead skin a year. Go. Okay. So polarity, it has a top and a bottom. The apical surface is the outer surface, the upper free surface, exposed surface. And a lot of times they're smooth, but sometimes they have little microvilli, tiny little projections that increase surface area. The basal surface is going to be the inner surface, and it faces inward towards the body, and it attaches to the basal lamina. The basal lamina is almost like the glue that holds it to the connective tissue. Both surfaces differ in structure and function. So the apical surface on here, you can see, is going to be this region right here going out, and you can see this one does actually have some microvilli. You can see a little bit of a bumpiness to it. And then the basement membrane, the basal surface, is going to be here towards the connective tissue. Specialized contacts. So epithelial tissue can fit closely together, and it makes a continuous sheet. So each cell has to talk to each other, and it does these by binding these cells together through lateral contacts like tight junctions or desmosomes. And I will show you pictures of those later. It is supported by connective tissue. The connective tissue holds the epithelial tissue to the rest of the body and keeps it together. It is inside or deep to the basal lamina. It consists of collagen fibers, which are very strong, kind of thick supporting fibers. The basement membrane, again, that glue, is made up of basal and reticular lamina. It reinforces the epithelial sheet, it resists stretching and tearing, and it defines the epithelial border. So that's going to be the line. When you look at a slide, if you'll see more than one type of tissue there. You kind of want to find that basal lamina to differentiate between the epithelium and the connective tissue. So let's learn a little bit about a problem with epithelial cells. So cancerous epithelial cells are not contained by a basement membrane boundary like other cells. So that basement membrane should end the epithelium, but in the case of cancer, it will actually invade past that basement membrane. So because of that, it will go to the next portion of the body, making a spread of cancer, metastasizing it. So because what cancer specifically is cells that don't know to stop dividing. They keep dividing and keep dividing, making a lump called a tumor. And then the cells are they're so divided and doing things wrong that they're not doing their job, and so they're not working. So a tumor can be benign or metastatic. Benign is going to be when it is just an aggregate of cells, but it is not growing, it is not moving, it is not changing. It messed up, it went a little crazy, it divided too much, but then it's done. Metastatic is where it's going to keep dividing, and it's going to go past that basement membrane to the next area. The next thing is avascular but not innervated. So no blood vessels are found in your epithelium tissue. It's nourished because blood brings the nourishment, the oxygen and the nutrients. It's nourished by the underlying connective tissue, so that kind of gives it the nutrients it needs. But it does have the nerve fibers. And it regenerates. The epithelial cells have high regenerative capacities. It's stimulated by a loss of apical basal polarity and broken lateral contacts. So if your basal apical polarity is gone, like if I scratch off the top layer, I've lost my apical layer. Because of that, then it knows hey, I need to make more skin right now. And also if I just a cut here instead of a scrape, then it's lost its lateral contacts where it's not talking to each other side to side, and it knows to go ahead and start making more cells there. But to divide, you need a lot of nutrients, and you need to undergo mitosis or cell division. We will learn about the classifications of epithelium in the next video. So in this video, I gave you a rundown about the characteristics of epithelium, and I told you about the different types of different types of tissues: connective, epithelium, muscular, and nervous. So we will pick up from there, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a great day.